All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
Hey, we are back again. Look at this match preview. We've got like a small mini squad here right now. We're going to bring you the best of the best right here. Obviously, we've got Southampton coming up Saturday afternoon, I believe, midday game, which is perfect for people like myself who lives in Sydney. That's about 11 p.m., 11:30 p.m., I believe, start, which isn't that bad. But I don't know how you guys enjoy the midday games. I think you'd want to sleep in a little bit, but we'll get that from each and every one of you guys down the track. Shout out to the people that have joined in and will join in throughout the stream. But first of all, I've got the boys from Matchday Vlogs. They're massive Southampton fans. First of all, I'll go to Jack. Jack, how you doing, my man?
Yeah, mate, all good. I'm happy to be here. Happy to talk about some football, and then have to explain why we've lost 6 games in a row. I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm sure you're absolutely buzzing. We can't wait to hear what's going on there. Mike, how you doing, my man?
I'm good. I'm all good. I'm all set to get out of the rut we're in. And what better way to do that than a home win at the weekend? But we shall see.
I hope there's no win, please. I just honestly hope there's no win. But no, I completely understand why you guys would be looking for a win for sure. Taryn, my man, has things.
No, that's really good. I'm just excited to be on the channel with some other fans today. Discuss football. So yeah, I'm really happy.
Nah, it's always great to have some opposition fans. It just makes the show so much better. Nishal, you are the talk of the town. Every stream I've done this week since your cameo appearance at Stamford Bridge, every stream, everyone's like, "Where's Nishal? Where's Nishal?" I'm like, dude, Nishal's got a life as well. He doesn't live in my channel. He's got a life. He's enjoying that. He will be here. But yeah, man, has the response been this week so far to you? Obviously, good win against Newcastle. How was the experience all up in that particular match?
Yeah, good to be on, good to be back on, but incredible experience as always. Such an honour to be back at Chelsea, back at Stamford Bridge, talking to Thomas Tuchel as well. That was very unexpected. The whole thing has just been unbelievable. So anyone watching who sent me a message or sent any support, thank you so much. It means a lot to me. But looking forward to talking about Southampton with 2 very overly optimistic fans, I've got to say. Considering we've lost 6 games in a row, they're both very, very optimistic. But I'm looking forward to it and
Brilliant. I mean, look, hopefully we dent a little bit of that optimism right now. But now let's start with the boys. Mike, I'll go to you first up. I remember that tweet from the Southampton admin saying stop the count, and you guys were, I think, leading the table for a couple of hours. And you know what? To be honest, you guys were playing some good football up until probably the last win was Liverpool, which was resolute defending. I still remember Hasenhuttl cried at the end of that match because of how, I suppose, intense that match was, the way you guys, defended, and the former champions, knowing that we'll get to the 9-0 loss that you had this season, but at that point, you were looking back and thinking where we've come from in terms of 9-0 last season to this season, beating the former champions. What has gone wrong since that Liverpool game? I believe since that Liverpool game, you guys haven't won.
We haven't won in the league. Obviously, we've won the cup games. I mean, arguably against slightly lesser quality Wolves side before that, the Shrewsbury game. But we did, of course, beat Arsenal in the FA Cup as well. I mean, they obviously fielded perhaps a slightly weaker side, but it wasn't that different to the side they played in the league game. But I think in terms of going back to right at the beginning of the season, we lost our 2 opening games, and we also got knocked out of the League Cup, and all the Saints fans are hitting the meltdown button straight away, and oh my goodness, what's going to happen? And then we went on this crazy run that effectively, I mean, we got a point at the Bridge last time we played you. And then from that, it just sort of went on. And it was really weird because on our show, we're not used to sort of talking about too many wins. And so our post-match shows were a little bit like, oh, I don't know what to talk about, Jack. This is bizarre. But effectively, I mean, we've been playing great football and we arguably haven't stopped playing great football. It's the problems elsewhere. Like, for instance, we started conceding more goals and we started not scoring any goals. And I think that kind of we hit a few similarities. Bad weather. We hit a few similarities with Liverpool in the sense that they weren't scoring any goals, but then again, Liverpool weren't conceding many goals. And as you alluded to 3 minutes into the show, we've conceded a large amount of goals in one single game. We've been hit with a lot of injuries, but every club's been hit with a lot of injuries, so we need to stop using that excuse. The one thing that I will say, though, is a lot of these other clubs have a second choice and sometimes a third choice position for every position on the pitch. We only have one left back and we only have one right back. Yeah. And if they're not fit, we have to then move players away. I mean, we're not talking about, the woes of Liverpool here and having to put Jordan Henderson in the back four. We're talking about serious missing players like us selling our second choice right and left back in the January transfer window, which just blows our mind, quite frankly. Yeah. But to answer your question in brief, I mean, I would say that it's not really that we've stopped playing bad football. It's the fact that we've started to make stupid mistakes. And it kind of feels like we don't have a plan B. And that is a worry for a lot of Saints fans in the sense that we play good football, but what happens when we go 1-0 up, go 2-0 up, and then concede to then eventually lose the game? So that is the worry for us, really.
Yeah, now look, I completely understand the fact that, I mean, as you said, you don't have that depth. When some of your key players are injured, you're really struggling. And I've always said a manager is as good as, the players that he has. I mean, a manager can be fantastic, obviously, tactically. And I think Ralph Hasenhuttl is a very, very good manager, the kind of stuff that he's done. But when he's been stripped away with the kind of players that you've said, it's very difficult to sort of then pick up players and trying to still maintain the same sort of level, and especially in the Premier League, it's so difficult. Before I go to my boys, the Chelsea boys, I just want to quickly talk to Jack. Jack, I just want to talk about that Man United 9-0 defeat. I know you don't want to talk about this. I just want to know, because we've been thrashed by Man City in recent times, 6-0, and I'll tell you right now, none of us wanted to talk about it. We just wanted to just turn the TV off and just walk away. And it just was the most devastating week until the next. We couldn't wait for the next game to come around, and so that we can just forget everything. You've now faced 2 9-0 defeats in back-to-back seasons. I mean, as a fan base, what is the reaction straight after the match? Like, how's the fans feeling after that?
After the Leicester one, it was real bad. But the Leicester one was training for the second one, so it wasn't too bad the second time. But no, it was two different scenarios. The first time when it happened, it was the worst night because we were all there in the rain, having to see our team just absolutely fall to pieces. And we didn't know what the exit plan was. We didn't know what we were going to do the week after. We didn't know. We were really lost at sea. This time, we're more secure in the team, and you saw how good the runner, how good the games were before Liverpool. We went 24 games and four losses in 24 games. It was great for us for the longest time. Yeah. So coming out of it, we were like, well, that's disappointing. But before the game, we had 2 goalkeepers on the bench, and if you were on the right app, we had unknowns on the bench, like literally. We were playing the under 16s on the bench, so it was a game going into that we all sort of thought we could get smashed here, but it could be we might be able to do something if we play it right. So at the end of that game, we were all deflated, and it hurt, but it didn't hurt as much as last time. So we were, there were that, which is an awful.
Do you reckon you're ready for another one next season? Like, it should be okay, or you don't want this ever again? I won't say it because I believe football in the past couple of months have made me believe in manifestation so much. So if I think about it, it will happen. So I can't think about it. But if it happens again, I think we'll all just be numb and be like, yeah, well, here it comes. Like, I think more of us might switch off now. I think when you were there, you're like, well, I can't leave. And this time you're like, I'm a fan. I'm on a vlog. I can't switch it off. Like, I'm committed to this. If it happened again, I think me and Mike could get to a certain point and be like, should we just watch another game now? We understand this now. Okay. Let's not just go for it. Let's not just talk about it this time.
I mean, if we get Mike Dean away at Man City, I'm really worried.
Days.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Lee Mason or Mike Dean away? But I think just following on from Jack's comments there, the Leicester one was so much worse because that was coming. We were being defeated all over the place. The players weren't good enough to play the systems that were being put in front of them. This one was just freak because you had a player sent off within the first 3 minutes. We were anticipating we were going to lose that game 4-0 regardless, 11 against 11. So it was a case of, a young player's had, stick his boots up and he's been sent off. And then the game should have ended, in my opinion, 6-1, and we would have taken that. It sounds weird, but that's the reality of it. But then to have the extra decisions go against us, the farcical offside, the mythical penalty, the sending off of Bednarek, which was then overturned. It was just so freak. And it was just like, well, you can go on our channel and watch the watch along. I mean, it's 90 minutes of sheer torture for me and Jack. But you'll see, we were depleted, and really it was game over within the first 4 minutes. It was, but there we go.
No, absolutely, man. I mean, I didn't know your team was going through all of that turmoil and injuries and whatnot. I honestly, when I looked at that fixture, I was like hoping Southampton's going to do some sort of madness against Man United and stop them. And we were on the rise at that time. So I remember there was a red card very early on, and I was like, oh my God, this is not going to look good now. But Nishant, you've got a quick question for them. Go ahead before I go to Taryn.
Yeah, links on perfectly about what you just said. So both of you, I'm Swiss. So obviously I have a very keen interest in Swiss players. And as Mr. just said, I'm sure you know where this is going now. You have a Swiss player, Alex Jankewitz, and he wasn't someone I didn't know as much about. I was aware of him, saw he was starting, and then within 2 minutes, we saw that horrific tackle from him. Such a shame, sent off straight away. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about him, and what have you thought about what you've seen from Jankewitz so far?
We haven't seen anything of him.
That was his first game for the starting team. That was it. He
came on as a sub though, didn't he? In another fixture, didn't he?
Yeah,
very briefly.
He's been absolutely tearing it up in the under 17s. He's like his stats are off the charts. He put in a transfer request in January because he wanted game time, and he did need game time. So when we saw him start, we were all very concerned because we thought he seems like he was going to go. And this seems like the really worst game to start him in. Like against United, depleted. Like there might be better options there. So we were all excited to see him. I think one of the tag times in the video what most people saw in the video was me saying, "Can't wait to see Jankewitz and what he's got to give." And then 3 minutes later, he's gone. So. We were gutted not to see him. We were hoping to see him against Shrewsbury, maybe in the FA Cup. We're a youth club, so we love seeing youngsters get on the pitch. So it's heartbreaking when that happens. But
I can imagine.
100%. Taryn, let's now talk a little bit about Chelsea. We are going for 5 wins in a row in the Premier League, 6 overall in all competition. How important is it from our perspective, from your point of view as well? We've got Atletico Madrid straight after Southampton, so you'd want to go on in that particular match with a decent victory against Southampton, with that confidence, that swagger moving into the Atletico Madrid game. This is no time to sort of chill back and just relax. I mean, not only we need to continue on, progressing towards keep going in the top 4, keep climbing as far as we can. I believe a win will take us probably a point away from Leicester and Man United. Leicester's got Aston Villa. I think Man United, can't remember exactly who they have, but yeah, they all have tricky fixtures coming up. So how important is this game for you to continue on with the winning mentality?
Yeah, no, I think that Leicester have Aston Villa on Saturday, Man United have Newcastle, and Liverpool playing Everton. So it's a really huge chance for us to pick up more points. And since Thomas Tuchel's came in, there's been some juju around the club that teams just keep dropping points. I don't know what Thomas Tuchel's done, but yeah, since he's come in, teams
they're scared. They're rattled, man, Taryn. They're rattled.
Exactly. No, I'm telling you, yeah. But I think that this game is huge because we've seen that sometimes with pressing teams under Tuchel so far that we have struggled a bit. And I think Hasenhuttl and Tuchel play quite similar systems. They like to gegenpress and they like to play quite high up the pitch and try and be all in your face when you're trying to play out from the back. So seeing we've had some quite easier fixtures, you could say, so far, Newcastle at home, bottom of the league, Sheffield United away, I think that this game is another, you could say if you take away the format of this fixture and just look at Southampton as a club this season, they've actually been they played really well. They beat Liverpool at home last season. They beat Man City 1-0 at home as well. They drew with us 3-3 at Stamford Bridge, which I thought the way they came back from 3-1 down to get
they
the
probably
2
would have
goals.
won it if the match continued. They probably would have won it.
The momentum was going in that game to Southampton, yeah. But I think that it's a big game for Tuchel to again prove the fans wrong, that maybe he can't play against the bigger teams, that he hasn't had the test yet to play against teams that like to press. And if Southampton, we have seen that this season, Chelsea, we've been nicknamed Charity FC. Like we've come against Arsenal. They went on a massive losing run, lost to Burnley at home, I think they lost 4 home league games in a row, lost to Wolves. And then we went to the Emirates and we got absolutely battered. We looked like a relegation team. They looked like a top 4 team in that game. So this could be a game that many fans could look at and say it's going to be a walkover because of the form. But we need to be careful because some games this season we have shown that we're a little bit weak mentally, and in the bigger games we need to prove that we're actually the better team. But yeah, this game is huge for the top 4 and before the huge game on Wednesday to prove that we are ready for Atletico. We are ready for a big game. It's not always easy to go into a Champions League game after losing the previous game.
I would hate that, man. I'd hate that feeling of a loss going to a Champions League game.
Yeah. But we did see as well last season, we beat Tottenham 2-1 at home and then got absolutely spanked by Bayern Munich. So it's looking at on both sides of the hand. But yeah, hopefully we can get the win and just prove to more fans that Tuchel is a real world-class manager and he can take the club forward.
No, for sure. Nishal, a couple of things I want to talk to you about. First of all, I'm a bit weary always facing the type of team that Southampton, and that form, especially the form, because they've lost 6 in a row, I'm always worried about facing these sort of teams because they come with the attitude that they will do or die. Like they want to win it badly. And sometimes I've seen these teams have a bit more desire than our team. There was a really good comment from Thompson Jones that I just want to bring it up. He's mentioned that we're no longer known as the Charity FC. We must win against Southampton and capitalise on Southampton's poor form recently. I feel the same as well with Thomas Tuchel now in here. I feel like he's got that ruthless mentality that he's not there to just give away points. Whereas previously I felt like, oh no, here we go. This particular team hasn't won like 8 games or whatever it is, and they're going to get a win against us. And more times than not, they end up getting points against us. What's your thoughts about that? And also, do you expect a bit of rotation knowing that there's that Atletico Madrid game just around the corner?
If we start on rotation, I wouldn't expect too much. The only one I could really imagine is Thiago Silva being put on a bench, keeping him fully fresh for Tuesday, because yes, that's a priority, let's be honest. But I wouldn't expect massive rotation. We do have a deep squad. We do have players who are fully fit, but the players had 2 days off. Tuchel as well spoke in his post-match press conference saying that he was focusing on Southampton and let's go to the next challenge. So it's making that focus. So I wouldn't expect too many changes and rotations, maybe a few. Maybe N'Golo Conte comes in. Of course, Tammy Abraham is probably going to miss out after coming off injured. So we could see Olivier Giroud get a chance, but I wouldn't expect too much. In terms of how Chelsea are known in the past to give points away, I completely agree with you, Miz. We're different. We're completely different under Thomas Tuchel. And I don't see that happening because you watch how he is as well. And that mentality he has that he brings to the club, I don't see it being the same. And I hope that's the case because, as we've said, we've had a lot of infamous cases in the last few years where we face an out-of-form team and then suddenly they turn up against us and we just completely fold and let them come away with a win. But times have changed. As you've said, Southampton aren't in great form. We're in brilliant form. And it won't be easy. But something else I think about is that in our recent clashes, it seems to be the away team that does the best. I'm sure the guys, Southampton, you'll know, when you come to the Bridge, you had the win last season, you had the draws in 2019 last year. They've done really well at Stamford Bridge, whereas Chelsea are much better at St Mary's Stadium. You had the 3-2 comeback in 2018 with Giroud getting the winner. You had the game last season with Mason Mount and Tammy Abraham getting those goals. So it seems that the away team has the upper hand in this fixture. So I wouldn't expect a different mentality or, more rotation because of focus on Atletico. We will go out there to win because that's the Tuchel mentality.
No, 100% agreed, man. I'm buzzing. I cannot wait for Saturday afternoon, man. This is going to be. I'm looking forward for us to keep rising in the Premier League. Jack, what is the expectation from the fan base point of view, Southampton fan base point of view, with this upcoming match against Chelsea? I mean, are you guys? I mean, is draw a good result for you guys? Obviously, a win is going to be epic. I get that, but what is the expectation?
I guess for us, the expectation is a bit of stability. Like a point would be great, a win would be insane. Southampton right now, depending on what sort of fan you ask, you're going to get a completely different answer of what the expectations for this club are. You know, there are people that are still holding on for that Europa League, and there are people who are already talking about relegation. It's crazy the people that you talk to at Southampton.
Was that a realistic goal, that the Europa? I feel like you guys were chasing that, yeah?
I think on Southampton's best day, if the squad's fit, they are probably a Europa spot fighting squad, but we just don't have the depth to maintain that for a season right now, and it's something that's abundantly clear for the run of form. On our best day, we could really fight, but I think that unfortunately that is a problem with most of the Premier League teams in our sort of position right now. Is on their best day, there are some absolute rippers out there. It's just keeping consistency. For Saturday, I mean, I can never say a loss or a draw, because that's not what a fan says. But your heart lets you know what's really going on. But a draw for us on the weekend would be, a real given. I'm hoping for a really dry game and it's 0-0, and we can just both come away going, that was awful. But see you in a few months. Like, that would be really, really nice if we can just watch a dull 90-minute match. I know it wouldn't be good for viewership, but just so I don't have to, have a heart attack or have another miserable weekend.
Mike, a couple of things I want to ask you. First, let's talk a little bit about Minamino. Obviously, he's the new player that's come in, and your thoughts about. I've not really watched many Southampton games, so I'm not really sure how he's been doing. So tell me about that. And the second thing that I want to say is, for this particular match, I mean, do you guys have a full squad back yet, or is there still injury concerns to some of the key players? So those two things I want to hear from you.
Yeah, sure. Minamino, we were very shocked when he signed on deadline day. I think that sort of surprised us as to the position also, because it's an area where we don't have a problem with depth. We have plenty of options on that right side and left side of the field. So it was kind of bizarre that we went for extra squad player in that position. But I get the impression that something went wrong with the Maitland-Niles deal, and he ended up going to West Brom, because that was the deal that we were hoping to get done, to give us an option in that right and left back position. But no, in terms of Minamino's impact, and we had a great debut, scored an absolute belter against Newcastle in a game that was just equally as frustrating as the last two have been. But then against Wolves, he was a little bit quiet. But I think that was more to do with an overall performance of the squad as opposed to an individual performance. So yeah, that's so we're excited to see what he can do in the games that we've got remaining for the season. It's a classic line, really. The best way to get into the Liverpool first team is to play at Southampton first. So he's going the right way about it, obviously. So I
want to talk about that. That's interesting how Liverpool just keeps taking all your players. But yeah, go on.
Exactly the way it is. And sorry, what was the second part of your question? I can't remember.
Some of the players, key players, any key players that are out, or are they all back?
So key players for us that are out. I mean, Kyle Walker-Peters, I would say he's the right back that we have in. He's our only right back. He's arguably a bigger miss than Danny Ings would be, in my opinion. If Danny Ings isn't playing, then we can probably still get a goal. If Kyle Walker-Peters isn't playing, we're probably going to concede a goal. Being quite blunt, if Ralph decides to play Jack Stevens in right back, we're going to concede at least 3. I'll say it now. Because he tried to play Jack Stevens in right back against Newcastle, and it was just a horror show. I mean, we literally, considering this.
So you guys rate Kyle Walker-Peters quite highly, yeah?
Oh, massively. Absolutely massive. It's best 11 million we could have ever spent. I mean, it's. I know that's literally pocket change for you guys, but
the team is so incredibly different when he's playing. It's unreal. We are the back four is so solid. He just, as soon as he goes out, we're a different team. That's when we go from being Europa to this is hard. It's unreal.
Exactly that, and we build up a lot from that right back position, and you'll see a lot of build up play. I mean, arguably, the left back position sort of holds a bit more, and we sort of push it from there. But we generally build up from the back and then sort of flood the box when we do so. But that does leave us wide open for the counter attack, and unfortunately for us, you have Oliver Giroud, who loves to score against us. And now that I hear Tammy Abraham is injured, I'm really worried because it obviously means Oliver Giroud is going to be playing. But in terms of other positions that we're lacking in, Walcott's out for a while, so he won't be featuring. Diallo's
thank God. He always wants to score against us for some reason. He thinks he's playing for Arsenal every time he plays us. Do you know what I mean? So
he's got a real run of like Poopowser in him. Does Theo Walcott? Arsenal, we love to score against. Everton, he was really raspy against. I think he just loves it. I think he just loves annoying people.
But in terms of that, aside from that, I mean, we don't really have any other long-term injuries aside from, we've got Will Smallbone and Obafemi who scored, Diallo. But really in terms of that, I mean, it's just that right back position that really worries me. I think what Ralph will probably do, sorry, I'm going to rephrase that. What Ralph should do is play 3 centre-backs and have work with wing-backs. So we kind of play like a 5 at the back kind of a formation. So but like I said, if you place Jack Stevens that position, I'm not sure I'm going to get through the whole game. If I'm quite frank on the watch along, we'll wait and see. But yeah, no, that's who you got to look out for.
No, for sure. I mean, I can understand the 5 at the back because we're playing that formation at the moment, so it could possibly be that you guys match up on that. Taryn, I want to talk to you now. I feel like, I don't know about you. I inside me, I feel like I need to prove a point to Southampton because they've done us in the last couple of games. The way they've pressed us out of our game. The last one in the second half, they pressed us to submission. In fact, I feel like they pressed all the way to get that equaliser and then making it 3-3. Ralph Hasenhuttl, the one thing that he does very well is drill that team to press really well as a unit. We've started to press well as a unit in recent times under Thomas Tuchel. Our pressing has gone so much better. And I remember the game before the 3-3, we lost as well under Frank Lampard. It was a 2-0 loss. And that was another game where Southampton pressed the living daylights out of us and made us look like a really poor team. Do you feel like you want to prove a point? Like there should be no complacency. Thomas Tuchel should be telling the boys, you go out there and prove a point because these guys, honestly speaking, Southampton, a draw and a win previously before us. I know if we look further back, we've probably got a better record. But last 2 games, at least, they've done well. Do you feel like this is a game that the boys should be ready and look to really devastate them?
Yeah, no, 100%. That 3-3 draw it felt like a loss to me, to be honest. To see how they came back, the mistakes that the Zouma and Kepa obviously caused, and then the last minute goal that we kind of conceded in the last minute was huge for us. I thought that game was a really bad draw. We needed to win that, but we've seen under Tuchel so far, like Nishal mentioned, that the way we've played is almost like there's more hunger in our game, and we have a stronger mentality to put away these smaller teams. No offense, guys, I don't think Southampton are a small team, but to put away the kind of
I think they're mid-table team. Yeah. I wouldn't say smaller team.
Yeah, mid-table. Yeah,
Southampton.
Smaller. Yeah,
I like yours. Don't worry.
Yeah, some of them.
We're just here. That's where we are.
Yeah, but yeah, I think we have to go away and to that game tomorrow, and Tuchel needs to drill it into them to press high and to just get an early goal and try and dominate the game and need to score maybe 3 or 4 because against Newcastle again, we come away from the game thinking, oh, we could have got more goals. We proved to the fans again that we're a really clinical side. But maybe this could be a game that we prove to the fans and to anyone watching us that we are going to be absolute monsters under Thomas Tuchel. And we've seen that Southampton have been shaky in the last few games. And you guys have injuries at the minute, quite a lot of injuries, right? At the Kyle Walker-Peters injured at the back.
Danny Ings.
Danny Ings is injured for this game.
I'm not sure he is. I think Danny.
No.
Oh, is it? He's not. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I just had a heart attack. Don't say that.
Yeah. Don't do that.
So it's just Kyle Walker-Peters. Is it just Kyle Walker-Peters that's in contention for being injured, I suppose. Okay, so they've got pretty much full squad. Yeah, besides Kyle Walker-Peters.
Yeah, pretty much full squad. But without Walker Peters, I think it's a big loss because you guys sold Valerie in January as well. So I'm not sure who plays right back at the minute. But we need to get at Southampton, get the strikers firing. Hopefully Werner gets a few more goals again as to build on from Newcastle. Get Giroud another goal. Maybe Mason Mount.
I was going to say, Taryn, your boy Werner played really well against Southampton last game. Couple of really good goals, especially the first one. How he dummied and just went behind, ran past the Southampton players, did madness in the box. I'm thinking, and this is no, I'm not trying to freak out the boys, Mike and Jack. I'm thinking Timo Werner is going to be licking his lips against Southampton for this particular match. Taryn, you're excited about that. By the way, Taryn's a massive Werner fan.
Yeah, them goals he scored against Southampton were just amazing. I thought the first goal he scored, got dumped it through his legs, got past Bednarek, smashed the bottom corner. I think that Werner, he needs to perform tomorrow. He needs to prove his point that he's a great striker still in this league, and hopefully he has a really good performance.
For sure. I just want to. There's some really, really good comments. I just want to bring it out. Just quickly before I go to Nishal, either Mike or Jack. I'll probably go to Jack on this one just quickly. We've got a bit of an issue with Zouma at the moment where he stopped playing just before Frank Lampard got sacked. And now that Thomas Tuchel's back in, once again, he's out of favour. Tuchel's favouring Rudiger in the back three. There's a really decent question here. I just want to know what the opposition fans think. I mean, do you guys rate a player like Zouma? Would you want a player like Zouma in your backline, just hypothetically?
It's a funny one. Like I've not watched an awful lot of the Chelsea games since Tuchel's taken over, so I don't know what his form's been like in recent weeks. But he did seem to be one of those players where, if your defense fell apart, he did seem to be a problem. Every time I seemed to watch a game, it seemed to be Zouma making mistakes. So personally, he'd be a player that I'd be really quite cool. I'd be cautious about. But at the same time, players at that level play a lot differently when they're in a side like Southampton. It could be it's a whole different scenario. So if you were to say, is he coming to Southampton, I'd be like, okay, cool. I don't know. I quite like our centre backs right now, but fair play. But as in general, I don't put Zouma in my fantasy team. Put it that way. I've not done that yet. So as a player, he's not. Of the top 6 clubs, he's probably not the first centre-back I go to. He's better than the United ones, for sure. Nice
little jab with the United fans out there. No, to be honest, your centre-backs are rubbish, United, just to put it out there. Nishal, my man, in regards to, I want to now talk about some of the players that were sort of injured from our side. We've heard about, from Southampton point of view, Kyle Walker-Peters is probably the only one that's sort of 50-50 whether he plays or not. Besides that, almost everyone's going to play. From our point of view, Thiago Silva and Kai Havertz, reports are saying in the fifth stand-up that they have been seen in, there's pictures out there. So they've been in training. Is this a particular match that you bring on a player like Thiago Silva, you sort of keep him more rested, give him the full 90 minutes against Atletico Madrid? And also with Kai Havertz, is this the match that you start bringing him back into the plans?
I wouldn't start Thiago Silva for this match. If we can only play him on Saturday, against Southampton, or Tuesday against Atletico, absolutely Atletico, because we need that experience, we need that leadership, we need that European pedigree. And as we've all seen, the problem with Thiago is we can't play him necessarily twice every week, especially when we're going to be doing a round trip to Bucharest, which is something like 5,000 miles there and back. So keep Thiago rested, keep him on the bench, because obviously, we're going to be playing all of our centre-backs, I assume. So, keep Thiago rested. With Kai Havertz, I'm not sure. Great that he's back fit. We've been asking about him a long time. We haven't seen him in a long time since Burnley, and it's really good to see him back in training. But it goes back to the point I've been saying over and over again under Tuchel. If it's not broken, don't fix it. We had a brilliant performance against Newcastle. Everything down to a T. We were brilliant. Dominated the game, outstanding in attack. And that was down to every single player on the pitch. I could see possibly Kai Havertz coming in for Mason Mount, but we'll have to see. I wouldn't complain if he started, but I don't think we should change too much. Unless we're resting, unless we're rotating, absolutely. But as we said, we need to focus on this game. We're still in the top 4 race. We still need to go with that. And as Taryn said earlier, a lot of the games this weekend are between teams close to each other.
Yeah.
You've got Liverpool and Everton there right next to each other. You've got United and Newcastle obviously opposite ends, but we're competing with Man United, Leicester and Aston Villa as well. We're competing with Leicester. So we need to go with a strong team and we need to go with what's right. And in that case, I wouldn't risk Thiago, but I would consider Kai Havertz. But again, that's Tuchel's decision if he's the right man to play Southampton.
Yeah, and of course, I wouldn't risk Thiago Silva as well. I'd probably allow Andres Christensen, who's been very, very good in the back three, in the middle centre-back position. I'd continue with him and really unleash Thiago Silva against Atletico Madrid, which is going to be a hell of a match, honestly. And Kai Havertz, if he is somewhat fit, I do want to see him play against Southampton. He's another player that actually scored against Southampton in the last time we played. So I'd want to see this. Boys, this is where it gets really, really exciting. Mike and Jack, basically what I want to do from both of you guys, probably just do it as a combined together. So talking between you guys. I think the fan base wants to see what the lineup is going to be. I'm interested as well what the Southampton lineup is going to be and how how dangerous the sort of press and whatnot is going to be. So boys, sort of talk it out between you two, how you want to play this out, the formation. Tell me first of all the formation so I can sort of fix that up, and then we'll go with the lineup.
Well, usually it would be a 4-2-2-2, but with the injury to Kyle Walker-Peters, like Mike was saying, I probably wouldn't be if it was three at the back. Yeah, three at the back probably. Well, I would hope. It's a big game for Ralph for his tactics, I think, this week, and I think if he was.
Have you guys played with three at the back previously? Like, have you guys done that?
Yeah, we did. It was we did it against Newcastle when we went top of the league back earlier in the season. We went top of the league, by the way. Just want to get that in there. Yay.
Yeah.
It's all been downhill since then.
It's all it's a little bit here and there. I reckon I'm really hoping that we do resort to this, just because I don't see any other option. I mean, the only other thing that Ralph could do is that he could go with James Ward-Prowse in the right back position. He's done that previously. It's worked out okay as a makeshift, but then that sort of leaves us without James Ward-Prowse in a preferred position. So it all depends on what he does on that. What is he more likely to do? I honestly don't know. But I would guess that if he's going with this kind of formation, a lot of Saints fans have been calling for Fraser Forster to start. He's been playing in the Cup. He's got a clean sheet. He played against Liverpool and got a clean sheet. So it was a case of, that's the one that everyone wants to see perhaps a change. I'm not 100% sure on that myself, if I'm honest, just because, Forster hasn't really been tested that much. But he does tend to, when he plays in goal, he sticks in goal. He doesn't get too involved in outfield play, which is where Alex McCarthy gets himself drawn into all kinds of trouble, and we can see goals. So maybe
there was a quick question here from one of the live chat fans. I just want to bring this up because you've just talked about Alex McCarthy. So what's your thoughts on that particular? So he's a goalkeeper, yeah?
Yeah, Alex McCarthy is our first choice keeper. He's he's there for a reason. He had a great season previously, but as of late, he's been making some silly mistakes. And any goalkeeper that concedes and own goals will have it put against him that, a change needs to be made. So a lot of Saints fans have been questioning, why is he still our first choice keeper when we've got Fraser Forster, who's, went on loan to Celtic and had an amazing season, and then he came back into the fold, and he hasn't conceded a goal yet in the 4 games that he's played. They've been against Liverpool, Shrewsbury, Arsenal in the FA Cup, and Wolves in the FA Cup. So it's not been an abundance of pressure on him, but I think a lot of Saints fans may like to see Fraser Forster between the sticks on Saturday lunchtime as well.
No, fair point. Who'd you go with the back three?
Back three, I can see being Bednarek, Vestergaard.
It's either Jack Stevens or Salasu. I would want Salasu, but
same.
Because Jack Stevens, Jack Stevens, a lot like McCarthy in the sense that he has bad days and he has good days, but more recently they've been terrible, and the mistakes are all their own fault. when Bednarak has been bad recently, it's been unfortunate. Like he gets an own goal, it's unfortunate. It's a red card that wasn't a red card, that's unfortunate. When Jack Stevens makes a mistake, it's embarrassing. He's dallying with the ball on the halfway line, and a player just tackles him, or he passes he passes back and it's too short. It's always silly stuff like that. So I would want Mohamed Salasu as the final one.
Okay, how do you spell that? Salasu.
Salis. You with a U, yeah. You.
Miz, you might want to check the spelling on the other three as well, just to
let you know. What? Look, I knew I was going to get some of these spellings. No disrespect to the players. Let's carry on with the wing backs, boys. What do you think? Who your wing backs going to be?
That'll be Bertrand in that position, down the left.
Chelsea boy.
Yeah, you should be able to spell that one.
I was going to say, Miz, you have a nightmare of spelling. Absolute nightmare.
Don't tell me I got that wrong.
Yeah,
Bertrand.
Bertrand. Bertrand. Sorry.
Still wrong. B-E-R-T.
It's B-E.
B-E-R-T, and then the rest is fine.
B-E-R-T.
Yeah.
I think we need to do a spelling bee for Southampton.
I do.
Oh my god, man! If it went to our bench, we would lose. We would just lose.
But hey, Jay, if you get the points back, we'll do it.
Yeah. This is the hard position. This is the one where I'm like, it could be a whole guest of people, but none of them really fit that position.
That's the difficult thing.
Mike, you can fill that spot, so I'm not wrong.
I'm going to say maybe even Ward-Prowse in that position, because I think it's just too deep for Minamino if he ends up without Minamino in that position. So I can see Ward-Prowse ending up there.
And then
that's generally not his position, is it? Ward-Prowse, like he's more sort of central, isn't he?
Yeah, he's more of a centre mid. Centre mid really. But like I said, I mean, he has played in that right back position, and I just think, looking at that formation as it is now, he's going to want, he should want experience in that area. And, that's the area where he knows Thomas Tuchel is going to look at that and go, we're going to expose that wing. So, Bertrand's an experienced player. He's been playing great, actually, recently. I've been really impressed with Bertrand. So he's going to want something else to go at that back area there. And with Salasu in that position, he's going to want someone in and around him that is also experienced. So that sort of lends it to more being in that as well. So yeah.
No, fair play. You guys are playing with the double sixes, yeah? The double pivot in the middle.
Yes. Well, usually it would be, but I don't know what it's going to be this time. But if we are, it will be Oriol Romeo in the middle there.
Yeah.
And I would probably say Armstrong in the other position. I don't know about you, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stewie Armstrong.
Yeah, you're right, actually.
If you're going for experience, that's what you want in the middle there. As we all found out from the United game, maybe starting experience in the middle of a park against a top 6 team is a bad decision. And this is probably how I would have started against United if it was me giving it. I would have probably, rather than risk this new kid in the middle, would pay a smart, strong head like Armstrong. He's got a law degree. He knows what he's doing in the middle of the park.
You know what? Just quickly, boys, it's so important, and we'll get back to this. Let me just bring this back. I want to quickly just get everyone's thoughts on this. Like, experience is somewhat in our fan base. For some reason, there was a moment just before Frank Lampard got sacked. They were like, experience is not a big deal, so on and so forth. But we're seeing the fruits of experience now with the likes of Jorginho and Kovacic playing in the middle, the likes of Azpilicueta, Rudiger, and Thiago Silva playing in the back. I feel like Thomas Tuchel has found a really good balance between experience and youth. He's seen that our forward pack is very youthful in the likes of Werner, Kai Havertz, Mason Mount, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Tammy Abraham, a lot of youth players there, and he wanted to have that balance with a lot more experience in the middle and in defense. Just quickly from you guys, Mike and Jack, I'll go to Jack. I know the fans want to see youth. They do want to see a lot of youth players come through, but I mean, it's so dangerous to disregard experience at this level, don't you think?
Oh yeah, like I said, Southampton are a side that brings through so much youth, and we always want to see youth come through. But we understand that there are times and places for it. That's when you play Shrewsbury in a cup. That's when we want to see the youth.
Yeah.
I always thought Chelsea were a team that really were so much better when they had that level head in the squad. Like, you're better when you had John Terry in the back line because he knew, like, he was that experienced head. You were better when you had Cahill at the back because he was that experienced head. And I thought Azpilicueta was the same thing. And I think it's clear with you guys that getting those players in, Kovacic has been crazy since Tuchel came in. I think it's been a real pump here. But in our squad, I think it's been so clear and obvious in the past few games of it's great to see these youngsters get this game time, and I love it when they do, and I love it when seeing them score. But when you're playing Man United, is that really the best game to start your 16-year-old? No, it's probably better to play an experienced player in this squad in a role that he has played before. Especially this time of the season, consistency in this league is what wins you it now. That is, it's not so much your skill and overall performance. It is, can you stay consistent? That's it. Can you just keep it going? Look at Liverpool and City, the years that they've won it. It's just this mad consistency that you see every game, and as soon as that goes, you don't know what you're doing week to week. So yeah, experience in the squad is
100%. Before we go back to the to the formation, just quickly as well, Taryn, the fan base has been screaming out for Billy Gilmour. As what Jack said, you'd love to see like a 16, 17-year-old, 18-year-old get that opportunity week in, week out, play these games. We think that they've got the quality, but we need to humble ourselves sometimes, with Billy Gilmour, that he's a fantastic player, but you cannot take away the experience of Jorginho, right?
Yeah, firstly, I just want to say I have no doubt in my mind that Gilmour will be a huge player for this club in the future. I'm sure that when Jorginho kind of starts to move away from the club slightly, as we think will happen soon, I think Gilmour will come in. But in the Premier League, it's just important to have a mix of both young and experienced. Like, as you said, we have players like Mason Mount, Hudson-Odoi, Werner, who are all young players, but in their right, they need other players in the squad that can balance out. So I saw a tweet by Reece James. I don't think it was an interview. Reece came up and said that. The quote that how much Thiago Silva has helped him since he came into the club. He's told him exactly where he needs to be. As we've seen that Reece James sometimes has a lack of, let's say, being a bit less concentrated when he's defending. Thiago Silva's helped him to say, come back, come here, tell him where to go. And I'm sure with Mason Mount that Olivier Giroud's helped him in the forward line. The likes of Jorginho's helped him when he's playing in the midfield. Kovacic has helped him. I'm sure Kante must have helped him as well. But yeah, in the Premier League, as Jack said, experience is going to win you games and help you be consistent in the long run. These players have played at the highest levels. Rudiger's played at the World Cup. He's played for Germany in huge games. Jorginho's played for Italy in huge games. All these players have played against some of the best players. They know how to manage a game and to know what to do and when to do in the game more than the younger players. But with Gilmour and other players, they will come in later on. But you see less and less young players in the Premier League kind of coming through, apart from like Rashford and some other players earlier on a few years ago. But now we've seen that less younger players because managers are relying on it more of experience because they can rely on that to get them through the tougher times. I'm sure that against Man United, if you had a more experienced player, was he 16? Just to confirm, he was 16. The guy starting in the middle in that game.
Yes. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So if you had maybe a cross side, I'm sure that the score would have been a lot less, maybe a 2-0 or 3-0. So maybe, I think that experience can really help you in the long run in the Premier League.
No, for sure. People disregard experience too much, and I feel like they really shouldn't. Boys, let's get back into this. The front three, who are you going with?
I mean, there's only one man that's going to go in the middle, so you know what I mean? Ings is up top, so that's all that spot's taken care of.
Yeah, Ings up top. And I'd say on that left side, I reckon he'll go Redmond again. I thought Redmond had a pretty decent game in that position. And then on that side, it's got to be Minamino. I can see him going like that. Shea Adams has sort of fallen out of favour recently, so you probably see him come off the bench rather.
Shea Adams was dangerous against us. I remember that 3-3. He was dynamic. What's happened to him?
I don't really know. I mean, I think in terms of, he just hasn't got a goal recently. But, you'd arguably look at what Danny Ings has done, and he's hardly been banging in loads. I mean, he's only had a couple of goals in the last 10 games. So, I'm not sure why Ralph is sort of had him out of favour and prefers to have Redmond up front. Because, when Ings was out injured, we had Walcott alongside Shea Adams up front. So it's been a bit of a mystery as to, why Adams will be playing up there. The only thing I can think of is that he's thinking he's having just one striker up front with Danny Ings and just having the two wide players with Redmond and Minamino. That could be another reason why he's opting to go for Danny Ings. And, why wouldn't you?
There were games where we had Danny Ings, Shea, and Walcott playing, and it was so crowded at the top of the box. When we were trying to break in, it just seemed to be just hard to break through because everyone was in the same position. As soon as Minamino came to the squad, he was so open all the time and in the right spaces that it kind of came to question of like, where was everybody else standing and playing when he hasn't been here? So I think it's just a little bit tidier playing it like this. So you're not overcrowding. The problem with Danny and Shea has been if you watch their goals from last season, they didn't, or when they were scoring, they didn't think about it when they hit shots. They got the ball and they shot and it went in, and then we were making goals out of nothing. If you watch them the past few games, when they get into the box, they're taking one too many touches. Yeah, you can see them thinking about shooting. Whereas last season, when Danny got the ball, it's just I got the ball, it's going in, and that was it. And it's really alarming to see how it's changed. In the past few games when Danny has scored, they've not been electric. But they've been good goals, but they've not been what you expect from Danny Ings. So hopefully, what we need is for him to score and for us to win. And just to get it pumped up. But for him, this is going to be a hard game to do it, and especially because Tuchel and Ralph both played but they're both in the Bundesliga together. So there's two managers that will know each other's way 100%. Of playing. It's this game, and like you say, Havertz is going to want to score against us. It's similar to the United match, but in the sense that we've got more of a squad there, and that's already happened. So we can't let it happen again. Yeah. So for Ralph this week, it's going to be a really, really big game because he's against a manager that's going to know him tactically, and it's a top 6 club, and he needs to show a bit of face. So it's a big game for us, but at the same time, we will take it with that pinch of salt that. Okay, it is Chelsea, and we are on 6 games beaten. So it's two clubs of opposite forms, and it's a scary time to be a Southampton fan, but we're still going to win. Still going to win. That big Minamino smash and grab, it's happening.
We're in it for the thrill. That's why we do it.
That's what we're doing.
No smash and grabs, boys. No smash and grabs here. Massive shout out to my boys Nishal and Taran to help me out with the names with some of the Southampton players. While you guys were talking, they were privately messaging me and letting me know. So thank you for that. Nishal, I'll just quickly go to you before we start our lineup. Just quickly looking at the Southampton lineup from the boys. It looks pretty decent. That front line, Minamino, Ings, and Redmond, looks very strong. But I feel like defensively, we should be able to get them. Our attacking power should be able to get at that back line that they've lined up over here. First of all, talk me through that, and then we'll do your lineup straight after this.
Sorry, could you say that last bit again? Because I could hear some background noise. I don't know where that's from.
So basically what I was saying, just talk me through how you feel about this lineup from Southampton. The boys have sort of laid out. I was just saying that front line looks pretty decent. But the back line, I feel like our attacking, options that we have should have enough ability to get through them. And then obviously I'll go through the lineup with you and Taran. But yeah, first of all, talk me through what you feel about their lineup.
Yeah, it's a good lineup. You can see there's definitely attacking promise there. Of course, Danny Ings has been brilliant. He's a great goal scorer. Takumi Minamino as well. He's coming into his element more, which is great to see. He really struggled at Liverpool, hasn't got game time at all. And it's been nice to see him, really be showing himself at Southampton. It's a good team. It's a good lineup, and we can't deny that. And as we've said before, the problem isn't necessarily in team selection or how they're playing, But, just in the case of how it's coming across, and like you said, squad depth, without depth, without consistency, you won't succeed in this league. But it's a good team, and it's definitely one, we can't underestimate, because we look at some of the other teams who've played so far under Tuchel. Sheffield United weren't in form at all. Newcastle, of course, battling relegation too, Burnley as well. But they all still gave us tough games, and we still had to fight hard against them. So, form aside and everything aside in that case, it's going to be a tough game. And, it's a very able team. We see that we're a very strong manager as well. And whether they're in good form or not right now, they can play on their day, and we know that.
100%. This is the team. Just before we move on to our lineups, boys, Southampton, Jack and Mike sort of predicting this will be their lineup. Let us know in your group, in the live chat, what you think about that. And now let's move on to our lineup. Nishal, let's go, my man. Back with keeping Caballero again.
Caballero?
100% this is going to be Mendy, or are you going to give Kepa a chance?
Well, if you asked me for Newcastle, we all agreed on Mendy. And then, at the bridge, we had that big shock, team sheet coming in, and I saw the very first name was Kepa. So I wouldn't put anything past it. But of course, Tuchel said Mendy is still his first choice goalkeeper. So I'm expecting Mendy to start, but I wouldn't rule Kepa out. I'll put that out there.
You could say that Mendy is the number one goalkeeper. So,
Pardon?
Nah, you go first, Nishal.
Okay, so the back three, as I said, I'm rested Thiago Silva. Get him. Obviously, he should be back from injury. He's back in training, but I want to keep him fresh for Atletico. So back three is going to be Rudiger, Andreas Christensen, Azpilicueta.
Nice. So no big rotation here. We're just keeping it as is, how it's been working. Double sixes.
Sorry, me again or Taran?
Yeah. Well, I'll do your team first, and then I'll go to Taran.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, so I'm going to keep Kovacic, but I'm going to bring in N'Golo Conte for this one, purely for a fact of rest. Like we said about rotation, there could be a bit. We might see some, we don't necessarily need massive rotation, but it's something to keep in mind. And I think it would be good to bring N'Golo Conte in for a game, especially against Southampton, if they're pressing us. I think, in terms of press resistance, all of them can do a job in midfield, but, I'd like to see N'Golo Conte given that chance, and pairing him with Mateo Kovacic and wingbacks. With my wingbacks,
you probably want it this way, right? You want Kovacic on the left side and Kante on the right side, yeah.
Truthfully, I don't mind which way around, but yeah, sure, that's fine. Wingbacks, I'm going for Ben Chilwell on the left and Reece James on the right. Again, it's changing and rotating a bit. I know before I said I don't want to change too much, but on the other hand, we do have a strong enough squad where, changing our fullbacks won't be critical. So yeah, give Chilwell a game, let him come in, and Reece James as well. With our front three, Kai Havertz nearly there for me, but on the right, I'm going to give Hakim Ziyech a game. He's not been in good form at all. He's been poor. I think he'll even admit that. But I think if there's a game where he can hit his form again, get an assist, I think this is the perfect occasion. Timo Werner on the left, he was excellent. My man of a match against Newcastle, a brilliant game. Really wonderful to see him playing so well and so positively on the left flank. And then up top, as you said, Southampton's arch nemesis, Olivier Giroud. I fancy him to score again because considering against Newcastle, he came on after 11 minutes, scored straight away, right place at the right time, was perfect. So yeah, I think as you can see, there are quite a few changes in midfield and attack. It is one out Atletico, but we have a strong squad. We have enough depth to be able to make these changes. And it's still a strong squad. We're not playing an under-18, so we're playing a Premier League first-team squad. So I think that's what I want to go for on Saturday.
No, man, that team definitely makes sense. Just a quick shout-out. Thompson Jones, thanks for joining, my man. I agree with Nishal. Kante should start against Southampton in Jorginho's space. Jorginho needs a bit of rest before Atletico. For me, honestly, this is a very, very decent team. I can understand exactly why you've gone with RJ and Chilwell. Perhaps Callum Hudson-Odoi and Alonso will be back against Atletico Madrid. And this is a game that you want to give Kante an opportunity. Kovacic, you don't want to have too much changes, as you said, to bring Billy Gilmore in. but Kovacic probably plays. Timo Werner, Ziyech. This is, as you said, I love every lineup where Ziyech is there. So for me, Ziyech, hopefully this is the game where he starts turning things around, and Giroud up front. Taron, my boy, is this particular lineup something that you'd go with, or you tweak a little bit here?
Yeah, I probably would stick with that a little bit, but I would make a few changes. Personally, for me, I don't really like Reece James, the right wing back. I just don't think he has the attacking input to he doesn't know the positions where to go. So if I would play Reece James in this team, I'd play him right centre back. But I think we should stick with Hudson-Odoi there for now. I'd probably change Hudson-Odoi to right wing back this game, and probably swap out Kovacic for Jorginho. I think that Kante can play in this system as the kind of Kovacic role, just Jorginho hold his position, lay off to Kante, let him create, let him use his energy to get around the pitch. Yeah, Jorginho can be that holding player that we've seen Matic and Danny Drinkwater be next to Kante. Yeah, I agree with Michel to bring in Chilwell for this game, definitely. I think that his pace can get him behind the right back that they'll be playing tomorrow. It's not going to be Walker-Peters, so that's a weakness that Tuchel needs to exploit. And the back three, definitely the same. We need their ball-playing capabilities against a high press that Hasenhuttl likes to play. And the front three, I probably would prefer Werner up front. As we saw in the game, the reverse fixture, he got in behind Bednarek and Vestergaard really well. Absolutely destroyed them twice on 2 occasions, and obviously assisted to Kai Havertz as well. And obviously not Giroud left wing unless you want that. I don't think I'll stick with that. I think Mason Mount is crucial to the way Tuchel likes to play, to pick up the ball but in between the lines, to lay it off to Hudson-Odoi. I'd probably play Mount on the right, if that's maybe a 4, play him on the right. And I'd start Christian Pulisic for this game, in my opinion. Ziyech has not been good when I've seen him play. And this is a really high-paced game that Ziyech didn't step up against Barnsley in a high-paced game. And just play it to Pulisic and Mount in between the lines, create issues for the Southampton back line, play over the top to Werner, and just get the goals. So, yeah, I'd probably stick with that lineup.
No, man, that's a very, very interesting lineup, man. It's crazy the amount of depth that we have. I've completely forgotten about Pulisic as well. That's the kind of caliber of the depth that we have. We've forgotten about Pulisic. Just going back to Taron's lineup, ladies and gentlemen: Werner up top, Pulisic, Mason Mount, Chilwell and Cho as the wing backs, Jorginho, Kante, Rudiger, Andres Christensen, Azpilicueta, Mendy. Wow, honestly, I'm scared. I'm scared for Jack and Mike. This team looks pretty scary to me. If I was to do my lineup, guys, the only thing I'd probably do, I like the Timo Werner up front because I feel like Southampton. This is the thing, just quickly as well, boys. The one thing I really appreciate from Hasenhuttl is that he's got a plan, he's got a philosophy. And my younger brother, who's an Arsenal fan, and he said this to me. He said that Hasenhuttl has this attitude that I want to play my brand of football. Now, if my brand of football, if you go out there and follow and we still lose 6-0 or whatever, 9-0, at least the blame's on me. It's not on you. You followed my instructions and you've gone out there and you did what I've asked you to do and you lost. So the blame's on me. He hates the fact that if he puts out a particular team, a particular plan, and then the boys go out there and does something different, that's when he gets really annoyed that why didn't you follow I don't care if we lose, but you follow my rules. So to be honest, I like that in a particular manager because I feel like, what's the point of having a manager if you're not going to listen to the manager's instructions? You know what I mean? So, and more often than none, it has worked out for Hasenhuttl. Is that how you guys feel as well? I'll go to Mike first up on this one. Is the fan base a little bit more, do they want Hasenhuttl out at times, or are they more patient than, he's a good gaffer for you guys, and that his philosophy, his mentality, and his style of football is quite good?
Great question, by the way. It's an interesting one because it's starting to get scary how far us Saints fans will trust Hasenhuttl. In terms of the brand of football he plays, I mean, it's the best football we've seen at St Mary's, or on the telly now as it's known, that we've seen since the days of Poch and Koeman. So it's great to see us playing great football like that. But when we see the Hasenhuttl way being played, it's risky. And Hasenhuttl has also commented on the fact that even when he's watching the team play, they are taking more risks than even he would like in terms of sort of passing very close to the opposition players and playing out from the back, cool, calm and collected one-touch football in your own goal area. So it is something that, you know, we do like to see, but there is an element of blame that he is going to have to take. You know, there has to be an option where he looks at it and goes, you know what, this isn't working. I have to switch to a different plan. And we're not sure as Saints fans now whether or not there is a alternative plan, because when things do go wrong, we can't park the bus. We can't play Sam Allardyce football and just stick 10 outfield players behind the ball and just hope for a 0-0. We just don't do that. But there are times when we've been watching games, especially in the second half, where, you know, we might be 2-0 up against Man United at home, as it happened earlier in the season with us, and it gets to 60 minutes and we see Cavani come on the pitch, and then all of a sudden we stop playing Hasenhuttl football and we're clearing up the pitch and we're thinking, wait a minute, we're not running things the way we should be doing, and it just looks like, you know, it's inevitable that we're going to, you know, concede goals and eventually lose the game, which we did in that game. So there are times when we can see the players stop playing Hasenhuttl football, but at the same time, we're also well aware of why they're doing that. They're clearing their lines, and we're screaming at TV like, "Get it out, you know, because we're freaking out because they got so many attacking options. So it's a bit of a balance. But like I said, I mean, whichever way you look at that, there has to be blame at the manager's door, but it's also a case of, okay, well, why are we on this terribly run? Oh, it's down to poor investment in the squad. It's down to the owners of the club not putting their hands in their pockets and giving us the depth squad that we need to compete in the Premier League. You know, but I get the impression from like Saints fans, it's like, well, we like the football we're watching, and arguably anything close to mid-table is a success for the club. And that's really, you know, but I mean, Jack will probably say this a lot better than me, but in terms of like, we could literally be finishing just above the relegation zone, and some Saints fans would consider that a success. It's mad to say, you know, after finishing in 11th. I mean, I'm not sure if you've got anything to add to that, Jack, but
yeah, it's I think that's a bit too far. I don't want to finish in there. I would think that's an awful season. But no, I've been saying it since the start of the season. Since Ralph took over, it's all about progression. And if you see where we were when Mark Hughes was here, which was points away from relegation. I mean, the night that me and Mike had when we beat Swansea, it was the most insane night of football ever. We were at St Mary's watching it all as a fan base, just praying not to get relegated.
That's excitement right there.
Champions League finals, mate. Nah, relegation day. That's real football.
That's what the game's at.
That's where it's for. You've never felt it, mate. So it is. As long as there's progression in the side, I can take the 9-0 and I can take the losses as long as I do see progression going forward. And with Ralph, I see progression. Like, okay, you were going to have runs of forms like this where it falls apart, but you have to remember we're only a year. It was a year out from the last 9-0, so that's, you know, it's almost seems like we've not come very far in a year. If you just take that one result out, it's acres of difference from where we were last season. So I love Ralph, and I get angry when I see the Ralph out comments. And to be honest, I get angry. Well, I'm not angry, but I don't understand when people ask for the board to go out. I know a lot of Saints fans will hate me for that, because I see this club running exactly how I would imagine it. We're aiming for mid-table. If we can get Europa, awesome. We get some youth come through. We've got a decent squad, and they're playing a certain way of football that now the entire squad takes through. And the only reason that our youth players aren't settling in the squad currently, like they're not the best, is because they're still running off of the old system. There's now a new Ralph system in place for the youth squad that makes them play exactly this football straight away. So when they do eventually come through, it'll be different. So there's so much built around Ralph that, for me, he is the most important part of the club right now, without a doubt.
Yeah, 100%. I think the only extra thing I'd add to that, it's mad to think that we've lost 6 games in a row in the league, and amongst that, we've lost 9-0, and there isn't even close to half of the fan base saying Ralph out. I mean, that should tell you
that speaks volume.
How much faith the fans have in this management setup. So
it was so strange ending that game, and me and Mike were both like, it's so crazy that we've now had a manager who's done this twice, and none of us are like, he might go. It's like, no, this is a blip. That's fine. Like we've allowed it. We've allowed that, and it's up to him now to prove it. And I do think this game on the weekend is a big game for him. If he could get something out of it, if he got a win out of it, tides would change at Southampton. Suddenly,
none of that.
all of that. When Minamino bangs in that brace and that James Ward-Prowse free kick, absolutely. Because you're going to start Kepa, because I saw him start Kepa the other day, and it's just going to happen just because I need it to, just to help us out a little bit.
Yeah, please.
Wait till you see Mendy in the lineup, and that's going to shatter your dream.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what, boys? It's so true. Like, I think my boys Taryn and Nishal will agree as well, in the sense that when under Frank Lampard, and I don't want to talk too much about Frank Lampard, obviously that chapter is closed, but there were moments we saw progression, but there were vast moments where we didn't see much progression, especially in the months of December and January. There was a massive decline, and a club size of Chelsea, we cannot harbour that type of performances for 2 months. We need our clubs to be competing for titles down the track. Obviously, top 4 almost every season is a bare minimum, but to be mixing it up. And now under Thomas Tuchel, you can see every game it's getting better and better and better. The style, the defensive structure, the pressing, the better utilization of squad. And similarly for you guys as well, like, as you said, the Pochettino days, the Koeman days, I'm seeing that kind of level of sort of comeback with Ralph Hasenhuttl. Yes, there are those, especially that match against Spurs. I remember I saw that match. I think Spurs beat you guys 4-1 earlier in the season. I was watching that with my younger brother, and he was saying 5-1. 5-0 or 5-1? What was it?
5-2, I think it was.
5-2. I remember watching it with my brother, and he was saying, Southampton ain't going to change. Pretty much almost every goal was Kane dinking it behind the defense and Son coming in and scoring. Kane dinking it through the middle and Son coming in and scoring. And I was like, how's Ralph Hasenhuttl allowing this? Like, surely he said to me, he wants a high line. He wants a high line from his team. So, he will live and die by the sword that he's sort of taken pledge on. And he doesn't want to see his team play any differently, which, as you boys have said, sometimes it's very difficult because you want to see that, Ralph, just change it up. It's not working. Just do something different now. But sometimes
park the bus.
But sometimes I suppose you want to see a manager that does it, because I feel like this is where the managers lose the players, when they quickly change to a different plan. And the players start questioning that if the gaffer's not comfortable with the plan B, well, how comfortable am I with the plan A? Sorry. So if the gaffer's not comfortable with the plan A, how comfortable am I with the plan A? So they start doubting in their head that, I don't believe in plan A either if the gaffer's not believing in it. So it is a dangerous sort of situation that you get in. But going back to my team, guys, and this is exactly why I want to play. I'm a bit torn in this, but obviously with Kai Havertz still a little bit of an injury cloud, I wouldn't mind playing Timo Werner up front because of that whole situation where Southampton plays with a high line, and someone like Timo Werner could have a field day. So let's say, for example, Southampton sort of lines up somewhere here defensively. Werner will have acres of space around here to do the damage, and someone like Pulisic, Mason Mount. Look, to be honest, I'd probably want Mason to be saved for the Atletico game. I'd like to see Ziyech start here. I wouldn't mind someone like Pulisic get the start here, and Kai Havertz probably come off the bench. And when he does come off the bench, probably become something like this, where I want to see Kai probably play in this position as opposed to as a false 10, as they're saying. I'd rather him play sort of like the 9, and Timo Werner goes in here. Besides that, to be honest, chose probably another player that I'll probably rest for the Atletico game. This one, as much as Taryn, I know you're right in the sense that Ajay's probably not the greatest right wing back. In this game, I'd probably play in this particular manner so that I can have Callum Hudson-Odoi fresh for the Atletico Madrid game. But rest, I would keep it as it is. I think Kante and Jorginho is probably a better setup as opposed to Kante and Kovacic. Because Kante and Kovacic has the tendency of both going forward and not, looking out for the defense. At least with Kante and Jorginho, it looks something like this, where Jorginho always stays there, and off the ball, they'll press high up. Our team will press high up, and with the counter pressing that we do, Jorginho and Kante can really press high up and get that ball back straight away. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much what is our lineup. Just some final thoughts before we go. I'll start with Nishal and Taryn. I'll go with Taryn first up. Taryn, some final message. Obviously, let us know, what you're going to be up to over the next until the game starts. Obviously, we're going to see you for the review. But yeah, some final message for your fans, man.
Yeah, but tomorrow I've got a really exciting podcast with Marius Fischer. If you guys know him, he's a tactical analyst from Germany. So on my podcast, really exciting for me tomorrow. And then obviously early start, and usually would wake up about 2 p.m. and look down in the UK. But yeah, early start. Then hopefully we'll get the win at Southampton, guys. Sorry about that. I think we'll get the win. So
no need to be sorry, man. We want to smash them. We need to keep going. There's no sorry. It's not Charity FC here. Nishal, my man, what's your final message? Let us know. Are we going to see you somewhere in the stadium again, or Southampton Stadium, St. Mary's is a bit too far for you? You're on mute, Nishal.
My bad. I'd like to be, but I'm not sure. Probably not. But I hopefully be covering the game. I'll be covering a press conference tomorrow, hopefully getting some quotes out, seeing what Tuchel has to say. And, same work on my blog. If you've not checked it out, nishalsblog.com. Consistent articles there. I'll be covering Tuchel, talking about him, talking about Chelsea. And but no, looking forward to the game. I think, like we've said of every game, we're learning more about Tuchel. We're learning more about Chelsea under him. And we're seeing us develop more and more, really grow into fruition and really come together. So every game I'm excited for. And I'm really looking forward to a good game, especially against Southampton.
Brilliant. So you're actually going to be in the press conference tomorrow for Thomas Tuchel?
I'm not sure yet. I hope so,
Brilliant.
but I can't say yet.
No, that's fine. Guys, everyone's, Jack, Mike, Taryn, Nishal's, all their social information's in the description right now, and also Matchday Vlogs YouTube channel. Go out there and support them, subscribe to them, maybe even get along with the watch-alongs that the boys are going to have. It'll be interesting to see how that watch-along goes along. But just quickly, before I go to the Southampton boys, Nishal, your score prediction?
I am going to go 2-1 Chelsea.
Ooh, 2-1. That's a close match, man.
Yeah, close match.
Because we're here.
I'm not going to.
You want to keep winning away?
Yeah,
Say what you want,
as
seriously.
soon as they go, I say 5-0 Chelsea, then a hat trick. But no,
That's more like a 5-0. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Taryn,
but no, I think it will be a
prediction?
tight game.
yeah, I'm just going to pretend Jack and Mike on now. I'm going to go with the 4-1 win tomorrow. Sorry, guys. I'm just going to go with the
Timo Werner hat trick, yeah?
identical score from last season, but without Abraham. Hopefully, Werner can do that role.
No, for sure. To the boys, thank you so much, honestly, Mike and Jack. It's been a pleasure having you both here. Honestly, we got a lot of things from a Southampton point of view, where you guys have been thinking about Hasenhuttl and what your club's going through. So it's been a pleasure having you guys around. Hopefully, the live chat, 34 people right now. Please, firstly, smash that like button. Obviously, follow these guys as well. Lovely people. If you want to know a little bit more about the Southampton side of things. Mike's sort of gone a bit hazy over there. I'll go to Jack first. Jack, some final messages from you and also the score prediction.
Well, if you want to see content like Mike's camera switching off, that Matchday Vlogs is the place to come, man. Like,
subscribe to. Yep.
It's what all the viewers are there for. Yeah, I'm like I say, it's a big game for particularly for Ralph. I think on the weekend, I'm excited to watch. I'm excited for football. It's stuff like this, getting together with you guys, chatting. That's kept me sane through lockdown. And I agree, 12 o'clock is going to be real difficult time to get up for on Saturday. I'm just going to stay up all
I'm
night.
snoring at 12 o'clock,
At that point,
fast asleep.
might as well just stay up for the night. It's like watching the UFC, watching the early Premier League games now. So it's time. But for the game, I'm going to say 3-0 Southampton. A brace from Minamino. And James Ward-Prowse free kick. Because if you're going to come at me with those 4-0 scores, I'm going to come right back at you with those ones.
Actually, I said 4-1. I said you would score. So.
We gave you a goal. You got to be
Okay, give us a goal. 3-1.
You're right. Sorry. 4-0 own goal by Chelsea.
Rudiger.
Mike, some final messages from you, my man.
I have to breathe some kind of sanity to our channel now, don't I?
Yeah.
It's going to be a really tough game, obviously, for everything we talked about. I think, you guys bring up the previous fixture. That game that we lost 4-1 last season, I mean, it was still the mess of, the players not knowing the systems as yet. And it's kind of ironic that the right back that set up our Danny Ings goal for that 4-1 loss has now been sold to Sunderland on loan. So there we go. But in terms of my score prediction for Saturday, Joe, I can see us doing this 2-1. We're totally biased channel here on Matchday Blog, and we like to be, as every fan channel should be, completely biased towards their club, their club. So I, if we're going to do it, we're probably going to concede. But like I said, a lot of focus is going to be on that right back position, and it all depends what Ralph does. But I can see us conceding, despite what Jack thinks. And yeah, I'm gonna, a reaction from the boys, a 2-1 win. There we go.
Now, you know what? Yeah, I've got a mate of mine, Eunice. He's another very, very well-known Chelsea community figurehead. He always says, what kind of a fan are you if you cannot expect a win moving into a particular game? So completely understand from your point of view. I mean, it'd be silly to think, it's going to be a loss. I'm expecting a loss. No one wants to expect a loss. You want to expect a win. So I completely understand from your point of view. Boys, my prediction, honestly, with the kind of football that we're playing and the kind of football that I know Southampton does in terms of defense, I think there's going to be a lot of goals, and I hope that we're clinical enough to put them away. That's been our biggest issue. I think defensively, I feel like we are far more solid than what you saw us in the 3-0 under Frank Lampard earlier in the season. So I think this time around, you're going to find it a lot more difficult. Our pressing is a lot better, so we will press a lot better. Honestly, and this is, trying to keep all bias and just trying to be level-headed, I'm thinking it should be, let's say, a 3-1 win. I think Southampton could possibly get a particular goal. Then again, we've kept so many clean sheets since Tuchel's come over. The only goal that's been conceded against us has been the Rudiger own goal. So that's 6 games under Thomas Tuchel where we've been absolutely solid. So yeah, I'm giving the one because you boys are here. If you guys weren't here, it would have been a straight up 3-0 win. But that's what I'm doing. But yeah, guys, let's hope that it's a really, really nice game and we all have a great time about it. Obviously, we've got the Atletico Madrid match straight after. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you guys all have enjoyed this. As I said, all the socials descriptions in the YouTube description right now. So go ahead and follow everyone. And we will see you guys post-match. Nishal will be back. Taryn will be back. Jonathan will be here. Maybe we might have another extra guest as well. Post-match of Southampton versus Chelsea. So yeah, guys, until next time, everyone, take care. See ya.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, everyone.